After spending years living in Bangkok's electric heartbeat, dodging motorbikes, sipping street-side tom yum, navigating ancient temples nestled between sky-high malls, I was sure I'd seen the real Asia. Then I moved to Bali, where incense floats through the air like prayer, where every sunrise feels like a reset, and where spirituality and serenity shape the rhythm of everyday life. Between the two, I thought I had Southeast Asia figured out. The contrasts, the chaos, the calm. But then, I arrived in the Philippines, and instantly, everything I thought I knew about this region crumbled. Where was the quiet reserve I'd grown used to in Thai culture? Where was the meditative stillness I'd embraced in Bali? Instead, I was met with laughter, volume, energy, karaoke at midnight, complete strangers calling me friend. English is spoken better than in most of Europe. Jollibee, jeepness, Jesus, all on the same street, all at the same moment. It wasn't just different. It was like someone took the rulebook for Asia, tore it up, and wrote something entirely new. I'll take you on my deeply personal, surprising journey through 3 Asian cultures and into one profound realization. You don't truly understand Asia until you've stood on a Filipino street, shared a meal with locals, and realized you're not just a guest. You're already home. Bangkok, the metropolis of controlled chaos. Bangkok was my first deep dive into Asia, and I chose it for the same reasons many expats do. The promise of adventure, affordability, and the thrill of urban life laced with exotic charm. At first glance, it felt like a place where modernity and tradition danced in traffic. The BTS Skytran zipped past ancient temples, while monks in saffron robes walked past mega malls glowing with K-pop ads. Life as an expat in Bangkok was intoxicating. I could step out of my condo and grab a plate of pad kra pao for less than $2, take a riverboat to work, or disappear into the thumping nightlife of Sukhumvit without ever feeling out of place. The cost of living was friendly, the food scene unbeatable, and the city buzzed with a kind of order hidden in chaos. But underneath the neon and noise was a social structure I didn't fully grasp at first. Thai culture is deeply hierarchical. Respect flows upward to elders, superiors, monks, and societal politeness isn't just manners. It's a language of its own. Smiles hide disapproval. Disagreements are wrapped in euphemisms. It was easy to live there, but hard to truly connect unless you understood the subtleties. Bangkok was dynamic, relentless, and vibrant. But over time, I realized I was living on the surface, appreciated as a guest, but never quite invited into the deeper layers of Thai life. It was a dance, yes, but a choreographed one. Bali, Asia's spiritual retreat. After the high-speed chaos of Bangkok, Bali felt like an exhale. I moved there hoping to slow down, reconnect with myself, and maybe write that book I've been putting off. Ubud became home first, a lush, spiritual sanctuary where yoga mats outnumbered traffic signs, and every morning began with offerings of flowers, rice, and incense. Life in Bali felt sacred. The Balinese Hindu culture radiated through every ceremony, every temple, and every festival. It wasn't just religion, it was life. There was a rhythm to it. Sunrise meditations, gamelan music echoing through the hills, children in ceremonial dress walking to the temple. It felt like the soul of the island pulsed with prayer. Then I moved to Canggu, where the vibe shifted dramatically. Surfboards replaced statues. Cafes served turmeric lattes beside co-working spaces, and expats spoke more English than Baisa. Western influence was heavy. Instagram culture thrived. Still beautiful, but less authentic. Bali taught me peace. I slowed down. I journaled. I breathed. But after a while, I noticed something. This version of Indonesia was filtered, curated. Bali is extraordinary, but it often feels like a controlled oasis, spiritual, yes, but slightly separate from the country it belongs to. I was living in paradise, yet something felt contained, safe, predictable. Bali healed me, but it didn't surprise me. And that's why, when I eventually booked that flight to the Philippines, I wasn't expecting anything wildly different. First impressions of the Philippines. The moment I stepped off the plane in Manila, something was different. The airport was buzzing, but not with stress, with smiles. Airport staff cracked jokes. Strangers helped me find a taxi without expecting a tip. It was loud, warm, chaotic, but overwhelmingly human. I kept asking myself, why is everyone so happy? Not fake smiles. Not the service industry politeness I'd grown used to. Real, unfiltered joy. It was a kind of lightness I hadn't felt anywhere else in Asia. As the city opened up before me, jeepneys in rainbow colors, karaoke echoing from every block, vendors calling out with fried bananas and ballad. I felt disoriented, but in the best way. This wasn't the stoic grace of Thailand or the meditative calm of Bali. This was something raw, alive, and intensely social. And then there was the language. Everyone spoke English, fluently, expressively, often humorously. I could talk to anyone, the barista, the cab driver, the security guard. There was no translation barrier, no cultural stiffness, just immediate, easy connection. Manila didn't make sense by conventional Asian travel standards. It wasn't pristine or perfectly planned, but it didn't have to be. It was real. It felt like someone had taken the rules of Asia and rewritten them with heart instead of formality. The Philippines didn't just feel like a different country. It felt like a different kind of Asia, messy, musical, magnetic. The Filipino spirit, loud, proud, and heartfelt. Living in the Philippines isn't something you observe. It's something you participate in. I learned that quickly. The first week, a neighbor I barely knew invited me to a birthday party. By the end of the night, I'd sung karaoke, eaten enough lechon for 3 people, and had 5 new Facebook friends. This country doesn't welcome you. It pulls you in. There's a word for it, pakikisama, a kind of deep social harmony. It's not about politeness. It's about belonging. Filipinos go out of their way to make you feel included, and not because they have to, but because it's who they are. Whether you're a coworker, a tourist, or a total stranger, there's always room at the table. And that table often comes with music. Singing isn't reserved for special occasions. It is the occasion. From kids to grandparents, almost everyone can sing, and almost everyone does. Karaoke is more than entertainment here. It's emotional release, it's family bonding, it's community glue. I've danced in rain-soaked street festivals. I've been given food I didn't ask for, rides I didn't need, and smiles I didn't deserve, just because. I remember thinking, in Thailand, I was respected. In Bali, I was observed. But in the Philippines, I was family. That kind of openness doesn't just change your trip. It changes you. Chaos with kindness. Life in Filipino cities. Filipino cities are not for the faint of heart. At least not at first glance. The traffic seems to exist in a dimension all its own. Jeepneys painted like comic books swerve between lanes, tricycles rattle down side streets, and pedestrians cross anywhere, anytime. Manila, Cebu, Davao, they all throb with noise, movement, and color. But underneath the chaos is something surprising, kindness. In Bangkok, I marveled at efficiency. In Bali, I found peace. But in the Philippines, I saw patience, especially in places where stress should rule. Stuck in 2-hour traffic jams, people rolled down their windows and shared snacks. Vendors passed cold water through car windows. Street kids waved at you, laughing, dancing, not begging. Somehow, the city breathes under pressure. Malls here aren't just shopping centers. They're social ecosystems. They host free concerts, church services, and even Zumba classes. They're escape pods from heat, hubs for connection, and often cleaner than the streets outside. It's easy to call the system disorganized, but that would be missing the point. The Filipino urban experience isn't built around order. It's built around people. It's less about control, more about coexistence. And that, in a way, makes the chaos feel comforting. Food, more than just a meal. I used to think Thai food was the most flavorful in Asia until I had adobo, then sinigang, then lechon, then halo halo. Filipino food doesn't whisper. It sings. At first, I didn't know what to make of it. The dishes were bold, sour, sweet, sometimes all at once. But over time, the flavors started to feel like conversations. Comforting, unfiltered, and alive with personality. But more than the food itself, it was how it was shared. Filipinos don't just eat. They celebrate. Every meal is an event. A way to bond. A way to show love. I was invited to boodle fights, where food is laid out on banana leaves, and everyone eats with their hands shoulder to shoulder, no hierarchy. There's something profoundly disarming about it. You don't need to dress up. You don't need an invitation. You just need to show up, and you're fed. From roadside turo-turo stalls, literally point-point eateries, to late-night tapsalogs and a universally loved Jollibee. Food in the Philippines became my gateway to deeper human connection. It was around plastic tables and bowls of hot broth that nature's best kept secret. I'd seen stunning beaches in Thailand. I'd surfed in Bali. But the first time I saw El Nido's towering limestone cliffs rise from turquoise water, I actually gasped. The Philippines doesn't just have natural beauty, it overflows with it. The islands of Palawan, the rolling chocolate hills of Bohol, the lagoons of Coron, the surf breaks of Siargao, it felt endless. Untouched, underrated. I kept asking myself, why isn't this place more famous? And then I realized it's not designed for mass tourism. Not yet. And that's what makes it so magical. You're not jostling through crowds with selfie sticks. You're hopping on a local fishing boat. You're walking barefoot on a beach with only goats and sunset for company. Filipino nature feels personal. You're not a tourist. You're an explorer. And often, a guest in someone's backyard. There's also a spiritual layer. Nature here isn't just scenery. It's part of the soul. Locals treat the ocean, mountains, and forests with reverence. Fishermen make offerings before sailing. Villagers believe in spirits of the land. That connection between people and place, it makes you see the world differently. Rethinking Asian identity. Before coming to the Philippines, I had a fixed image of Asia. Buddhist temples, chopsticks, spicy noodles, quiet respect, and martial arts movies. And much of that exists, just not here. Instead, I found Catholic churches, American slang, karaoke bars, and fiesta banners strung across the streets. People ate with forks and spoons. English wasn't just spoken, it was infused with local wit and sass. Spanish last names, indigenous pride, K-drama fandoms, and NBA obsessions, all coexisting in one neighborhood. The Philippines shattered every Asian stereotype I had in my mind. This country is a cultural kaleidoscope. Influences from Austronesian tribes, Spanish colonization, American occupation, Japanese war history, and modern Korean media all blend into something utterly unique. And yet it works. Somehow, It feels more unified than it should. That's when it hit me. Asia isn't one thing. It's not a single story or visual aesthetic. Asia is diverse, messy, unpredictable, and beautifully layered. And the Philippines? It's proof that identity doesn't need to be boxed in. It can sing, dance, pray, meme, and serve fried chicken all in one day. Living in the Philippines, would I move here? The longer I stayed in the Philippines, the more the idea of living here felt less like a possibility and more like a calling. Let's talk logistics. The cost of living is relatively low, though rising in hotspots like Manila, Cebu, and BGC. You can rent a decent condo, eat well, and enjoy weekend island trips for far less than the West, or even Bali. The visa process is surprisingly friendly, with long-term options for retirees and remote workers. English fluency makes day-to-day life simple, and there's a growing digital nomad scene in places like Siargao and La Union. But there are challenges. Internet speed varies wildly. Healthcare access depends on your location and insurance. Infrastructure isn't always reliable. Blackouts, floods, and traffic are common. And yet, there's something magnetic about the community here. People look out for each other. You can walk into a sari-sari store and walk out with more than groceries. You walk out with connection. I wouldn't just consider living here. I'd embrace it because the Philippines isn't just where you stay. It's where you belong. What the Philippines taught me about being human. If there's one thing the Philippines gave me, beyond stunning views, delicious meals, and unforgettable moments, it was this, a reminder of what it means to be human. In a world obsessed with productivity, perfection, and self-promotion, this country showed me the quiet strength of imperfection, of joy in chaos, of hope in hardship. I saw families smiling despite storms. I saw kids dancing in the street with holes in their slippers but stars in their eyes. I saw generosity from people who had little but gave everything. Filipinos don't just survive, they celebrate. They mourn with song, struggle with laughter, and show up for each other in ways that feel ancient and instinctual. It made me reflect on my own life. The pressure, the pace, the disconnect. The Philippines slowed me down, not in the way Bali did, but in a deeper, more emotional way. It softened me. It cracked me open. I came to realize that the most powerful kind of wealth isn't financial. It's emotional, and this country is rich with it. As I sat on a porch one night in Bohol, eating mangoes with a local family under a sky full of stars, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Wholeness. You don't just visit the Philippines. You feel it. And if you let it, it will change you forever. The Philippines changed everything. I thought I understood Asia. I had lived in its megacities, walked through its temples, learned its customs. I thought I'd mapped it all out. Then the Philippines unraveled everything I thought I knew and rebuilt it with warmth, with chaos, with heart. From Bangkok's precision to Bali's peace, I had found versions of Asia that fascinated me. But in the Philippines, I found a version that embraced me. Here, Asia isn't just ancient or efficient. It's alive. It's evolving. It's emotional.